The following broadcast is intended for mature audiences. These are real people sharing very real, deeply personal experiences. This content may be considered triggering for others and for those who are sharing. The chat room is a privilege intended for discussions and sharing. You are not being asked to agree, but you are being asked to stay civil and refrain from personal attacks. Listener discretion is advised. All right, welcome to Am I Mental, a mental health issues live podcast where real people share real experiences. Today is the day that we have our co-host here with us again. He's back from his family obligation, and he's going to open up. KZ, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well, man. It's, better to be here than helping family out right now.
All right, so last week, like I said, you were busy helping family. We had a guest, B, fill in and opened up pretty well. And the show overall I thought was a pretty good show. And we actually already have someone in chat. Klutzana says hello.
Hello.
All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get to you. Tell us a little bit about you. Tell us about what you have and how's it impacted your life.
Oh, Lordy. So as far as actual diagnosed, mental, diagnoses, I do not have any of them. I do have demons that I have dealt with over the years. I have a notorious problem for thinking I can fix people that just can't be fixed. I've gone through 2 marriages. Both of them have been diagnosed bipolar. My first wife, she's been diagnosed with a couple other things since we've split, which could have been part of the issue also. But no, it's a rough go of things. Trying to be there for people to help them through stuff that you don't fully understand, that you can't fully grasp sometimes. And trying to think that you can fix them. And it's not something that just can be fixed. You have to have, both parties need to be willing to try whatever, options are out there.
Right.
Whether it's medication, therapy, whatever it needs to be. The medication part, it is a smidge of a sore subject for me. My second wife diagnosed bipolar. Before that, she was just basically on antidepressants and stuff. Not totally thinking it was a bipolar issue. But got diagnosed bipolar. I do not remember the medications that she was prescribed. But it was something along the lines of, take, 2 pills a day, or 2 pills every so many hours in between, but no more than 8 pills a day. Well, according to her doctor was like, no, you can take the 8 pills all at one time if you think it's necessary. And doing so, she would take those 8 pills and then a couple of her other pills that she had, and she was losing chunks of the day. I would go to work and I would tell her, hey, I've got, this commitment after work that I'm going to go help these people with, computer problems, or, go, help my dad with something, and, get off work at 7:00, get a phone call about 7:30, just off the rails. Where are you at? What's going on? Why aren't you home yet? And it's like, hey, I told you, we talked about this. No, we didn't. And that went on for a while, and it kind of progressively got worse. She ended up losing days and weeks at a time where she couldn't remember what was going on. And, it was one of those, we kind of had to stage our own little intervention and, basically said, look, if you don't start treating these pills like they're supposed to be treated, I kind of did a little bit of a shady deal and was, I went to her doctor and was, talking to him about it. And one of those, doctor patient confidentiality things, he couldn't really tell me, too much about it, even though I was her husband. But it was one
Right.
of those where you could kind of see the concern on his face.
Well,
Like, yeah,
yeah.
that's not supposed to happen.
And
Um,
also, I mean, they always are happy to get the extra feedback from you, even if they can't comment on it.
exactly, exactly. And we ended up, like I said, kind of staging our own intervention and basically pulled her aside and was, look, hey, you need to kind of reassess the whole pill thing. I'm not opposed to taking them as prescribed, but not in this manner where you're doing your own self prescriptions here. And basically told her that if you're not willing to address the situation, you're going to lose the kids and myself. Um, she managed to, not managed to, she basically took her pills over to the toilet and flushed them, and quit them cold turkey.
Oh, you
Um,
never, ever quit cold turkey.
the next couple of months was hell. It was a roller coaster, just all over the place. Um, After talking with her and after things kind of calmed down, leveled out a little bit, all the medications out of the system, she's just dealing with the manic highs and the lows there. Um, Finally, sat down and talked with her and was like, look, maybe there's another option. Because she refused to take pills because after everything was out of the system, it all kind of came clear to her that, like, oh crap, I did that.
Right.
And so she basically swore off pills from there on, and basically self-medicated with pot. Um, and for the most part, that kind of leveled things out. There were some other irreconcilable differences that we had that ended up causing the end of the marriage, but it was one of those where I did everything I could to try to make things the best they could be, and as it goes right now, as far as I know, still not taking any medications, just kind of self-medicating with pot, and seems to be handling things pretty well for the most part.
Well,
Uh,
that's pretty good. I mean, hopefully she's talking to her doctor about it too, and the doctor is aware and okay with it. But that's a conversation between her and her doctor, obviously.
exactly, and her current place of residence doesn't look too kindly on the marijuana side of things, so she kind of keeps that under wraps a bit.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but as far as she's got a few other things that she has gone to the doctor and has been getting taken care of, as far as I know. Last time we talked, which is God months ago, I think at this point. But yeah, just it was rough. It was a rough go of things for all four of the kids, myself, just walking on eggshells a lot of the time. And yeah, it's I'm finding with myself that it's one of those where I'm not looking to try to fix anybody anymore other than myself, because I
So,
have control over that.
so now you said that you haven't been diagnosed with anything, but if you were to take a stab at it, what would you say you have?
Oh Jesus. So that's where it gets into it. Like, I don't know solid diagnosis terms, but I do. So stress, anxiety, that is a big one on me.
I've known that
uh,
about you.
yeah, and with my physical medical diagnosis, I push those off as much as I can. I try to make light of every situation I can, and try to not to let it get to me. But yeah, it piles up. Um, and every so often, it's one of those where it's like, okay, I'm gonna go I'm gonna go hang out in my closet for a bit. Just let me unload. And yeah, it piles up a bit and gets a little rough sometimes. But thankfully, now with who I'm in a relationship with, she's amazing and is extremely supportive.
I've been dying to meet her, by the way.
Oh, she's awesome. She's great. Um, I've shot myself in the foot a couple of times. One of those where I did not seek instead of dealing with stuff on my own, just, stress and anxiety, that sort of thing, I was looking to basically unload it elsewhere and didn't make the best of choices. And this all came to light. And go ahead.
Go ahead. Do you want to say what you did?
I ended up speaking with some ladies. I did not have any physical interactions with these women, but it was more of a what the heck? Been working all day. I'm losing my vocabulary. Basically, like a psychological, affair. There you go.
So basically, it was emotional cheating,
Emotional
affair.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
I've done that myself.
Yeah, it's not the best way to go about taking care of your stress or unloading that sort of thing. But it came to light, and she and I we had our. It was amazing. That's one thing I'll have to say though, is when it came to light, like if this would have happened with any of my other relationships, especially the two ex-wives, it would have been a massive explosion of like, oh, hellfire and brimstone raining down upon me.
And I remember your two ex-wives, and yeah, I could absolutely say that would happen.
Yeah, no, and my lady, she was like, we need to sit down and we need to talk and we need to figure out why you've gone that route. What's going on? Let's work on things, and I went in and I spent some time in talking to a therapist, about it, and had some good chats, got to, as I like to call it, verbally vomit, that I don't do on very many people very often. And the fact that I'm spouting it off right now is kind of amazing. But,
Yeah. No, but seriously, you are a very stoic person, typically. Very lighthearted, very happy-go-lucky stoic in a way as well as how you come across. But you're deeper than that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, what was it? Not this last summer, but the summer before. I got to go visit my grandmother for the first time in like 20 years. And I spent a week out there helping her out around the house, fixing her AC, doing all sorts of stuff for her. And just spending as much time as I can with her because, she's getting older and, it's like I haven't seen her in so many years. And while I was there, there was a couple of times where she was like, I'm ready to go when the good Lord's ready to take me. And I was like, Graham, he was just waiting for me to show up. You can go anytime after I leave. And, we just kind of joked about it a little bit. And we were sitting there talking and, I mentioned to her, I was like, hey, I haven't been out in a long time. This is the first time in a while. I was like, hey, if you want to get me something for Christmas, I'd love to come back out again. And she was like, yeah, we can work that out. We can talk that around.
Awesome.
And, yeah, except that, 2 days after I left, she passed away.
Ouch.
Yeah. And I'm like, I said that you were just waiting for me. I didn't actually friggin' mean it. Geez, come on now. Ended up basically, I was already home. I was home for a couple of days, and then it was back on an airplane flying across the country to see her again. And, this time, unfortunately, she was in a very small box. But, there was a bunch of family there. We had a good time, just, talking, the celebration of life type thing. And again, this, me holding in my emotions, I did not cry the entire time I was there. I didn't cry at the funeral. I didn't cry, at the gathering before or after. I just, I held it in. And it was almost a year afterwards. I finally, I broke down. I was, I was home alone, and I was just like, okay, yep, I need to unload this because it's not doing me any good right now.
No.
And, yeah, it's rough, but, it's one of those where, I know I have a few, skeletons in the closet there that, I try to, keep hidden for the most part, but, you can only do so much.
Right. And we have had a little bit of the listeners interacting here. We actually have a few people in here. Like CJ Bennett earlier, when you were talking about the emotional affair, she nailed it, saying that you were finding validation somewhere else.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it.
And then a lot of people that do that minimize the damage it can do. It's like, oh no, it's no big deal. I'm just talking to this person. No, actually, it's a big deal. Having been in a couple of emotional affairs myself, you've seen it firsthand. I've seen it firsthand. It's devastating. It's a total betrayal of trust, is what it is.
It is very much so.
And then Kletsana was just talking about, says, I've done something similar after the death of a family member.
Yeah, it's rough, but it's. I don't know. It's one of those that, I always hold on. My dog is trying to get my attention right now. Go on. Go lay down. Go lay down. But, totally sidetracked me. What the heck, dog?
We were talking about how you held in for a year on your grandmother.
Oh, yeah. I've done it a few times. The last big, passing of a relative that I had that I didn't hold in, and it actually felt amazing, was my godmother when she passed away. It was I tried doing it. I was doing really well, and then my mom got up there and started talking, and I just lost it. And it's one of those where, this was what I was going to say. It was coming back around. I don't know. You know my dad. I grew up with I grew up with my dad. He never showed emotion. It was one of those things that, hey, you're a guy, be tough, don't show it. Just suck it in. You don't cry.
Yeah, the only two emotions I ever saw from your dad was happy and pissed.
That was pretty much it. My entire childhood, growing up, and that was it. The only time I've actually ever seen him, get physically, upset was he had a really good friend of his, an old coworker. After he retired, the guy was still working and ended up passing away. And yeah, I've never seen my dad upset. And when we got to talking about him, I was kind of pushed back a little bit. I was just like, wow, I'm kind of amazed that he's actually showing this kind of emotion. But I mean, they were super good friends. He had another friend pass away that was kind of unexpected, and it wasn't anything like that one. And that's kind of how I expected him to be. But when his buddy passed away, I was just like, oh, so we can show emotion. That's nice.
Yeah, I remember the first time seeing my dad show emotion was when my mom's father, my maternal grandfather, passed away. It tore him apart. It tore my mom apart. It tore us all apart. But I don't know if you ever met him. He was kind of a giant of a man.
No.
And we have a couple more things in here. CJ came back talking about, and being the one who the emotional affair is done to feels like you just can't win. And I have been in both situations. So she knows both sides of the story there. And then going with the death thing, Arlie came in and said hi. When my sister passed away 2 years ago, I had no emotion. I just made sure that everything was taken care of, from making sure food was in the house to making her funeral arrangements. That's how many people simply survive an emotional trauma.
Yeah, no, for sure. And the emotional affair thing there, that's one of those things where I part of me wanted to go back to those women and apologize, but it was also one of those where it's like, you know what? No, it sucks, but I don't want to go talk to them because I don't want to do any more damage than I already have to my relationship that I do care about, that I do want to keep. Um, and I know it's a little selfish, but it was one of those where it's like I didn't want to open the door and end up screwing it up again. But yeah,
Well, it sounds like maybe a little bit of knowing yourself a little bit too, not
yeah.
tempting fate.
Well, exactly. It's one of those where it's like, well, I could apologize for being a complete douche canoe, but I think they probably already know that.
Did they know that you were already in a relationship? CJ asked.
That I was not completely forthcoming with. It kind of skirted around that subject when it was brought up.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
pretty bad.
Yeah, it was not, again, like I said, not the best situation at all. I can't do anything but absolutely love my lady that I'm with. She has been just completely understanding and willing to work with me and willing to work through it, and do everything we can to you know get past it and move on. We've got big plans coming in the future, and hope to continue on down the road with them.
Fantastic. Yeah, you got yourself an amazing person. You are so lucky to have her.
Oh,
Don't screw it up.
yeah. Well, that was kind of one of the other things. When I did go to the therapist and was talking to her about stuff, and she's like, "You like to self-sabotage."
That's exactly what I was
like,
thinking.
and I was like, "You're friggin' right." I was like, "Yeah, I don't agree on some of the other things that her and I talked about, but I was like, no, that I think is pretty well spot on."
And the
But
longer you go to therapy, the better they get an understanding of you and the better they can hone in on your issues.
yeah,
Like
yeah, oh, go ahead.
like I went in for what I thought was anger management, and it turned out I was depressed. And it took about 7 or 8 sessions to figure that out.
Yeah, yeah, we had some good conversations there, but yeah, it's one of those where we didn't see completely eye to eye on another subject, and it was a little bit of a sore subject for myself, and I backed out of that therapy, and been working and doing some more online research of finding a new therapist to go to that may be a bit more of a better fit for myself. So still working on it, still trying to move through things, but yeah, doing the best I can, given what I've got so far.
Fantastic. So this is from Arlie. Do you have any idea why you want to self-sabotage?
Um, from the therapist sessions that we had, and after, it's kind of funny because after talking with a therapist, I left there, and between my weekly sessions, I was totally going over things in my head over and over and over again about like what we talked about and what's causing it. And basically it was, yeah, it was basically growing up not feeling that I was good enough. And I'd get with somebody not feeling that I was good enough, and like in this case here, not feeling I was good enough, trying to find um God, my brain is wiped out today. One of the people in chat mentioned earlier. God dang it! But basically, I'm trying to find oh God, what's the word? Dang it, man. Help me out here.
I'm trying to figure it out what you're trying to say too, because I know for like when I do some self sabotage kind of stuff, it's that I almost want to get caught because I'm so used to not being good enough that when things start to feel that I am good enough, it's an uncomfortable spot. And it's almost a way of putting myself back into a comfortable position, which is a suck position, but it's a comfortable position. The devil that I know.
Yeah, yeah, and that's so yeah. Basically, I was trying to find my worth elsewhere when I didn't need to. You know,
Right.
my lady loves me to death. She thinks I'm the best thing since sliced bread, which has been surpassed by everything since its invention. But um, but it's one of those where she loves me for who I am, and I'm just, I'm blind. I don't see it. I think I need to be better than what I am and try to do more, which I do. I try to be better as much as I can, but I don't need to find it somewhere else.
All right. So CJ came up saying validation.
That
Klatsana.
validation. Thank you.
Yep, there's the word. Klatsana said, just my thoughts on self-sabotage. Sometimes you feel inadequate and you don't realize it. You just self-sabotage to control the situation. That's actually kind of deep.
That's pretty solid.
And then CJ came back again saying, others self-sabotage by looking for something wrong in someone else rather than to hurt yourself by doing something to yourself per se. So you're trying to like emotionally hurt yourself, not physically hurt yourself is what I think CJ's going for.
Yeah. Yeah. And finding, issues in somebody else, like, yeah, I've done that before. I did that early on in my current relationship, and it's one of those where I'm sitting there and I'm digging. I'm like, okay, when's it going to come out? When is something going to come out? What's wrong with her? Where is it at? And I finally just gave up. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with this woman because I can't find it. She's, I put it as, she's too good for me. And that,
Well, she might be. So get yourself better so you deserve her.
Well, that's it. And, that with after everything that's come to light and, that, we've been dealing with, that's basically what I'm doing is trying to make sure that I'm the best person I can be for her and not do anything stupid like that again.
All right. And Arlie came on saying, I think a lot of self-sabotage stems from a deep-rooted fear of change or growth. Going into the unknown is terrifying. Like I was saying, too, earlier, the devil that you know.
Yeah.
And then exactly. Klatsana came back. There was a time in my life where I wouldn't allow myself to be happy because I'd always been told I was worthless.
Yeah, that's got to suck. I thankfully, I've never been put in that position. Well, not entirely. Growing up with a step parent that is not the best to you kind of puts that in your head, and that's part of what came up during our therapy sessions.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, KZ and I have known each other for years, and we at one point were semi-related by marriage.
Yes. Yeah, which by the way, that person is an amazing grandparent. Nothing but good stuff to do with my kids. Anytime they ever need anything, especially if it's art supplies, it's in the mail. It's here within 2 days.
Yep, I could agree with that, having had her also as a grandparent. She unfortunately tends to make it look like, buying is love, which the kids will eventually figure out. Hopefully she's gotten beyond that. But my kids totally took advantage of that.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, there was no want for anything.
Yeah, one of the other grandkids that have gone on trips and stuff with them definitely took advantage of that situation. So, it's an interesting dynamic.
It is. And then Quetzalcoatl came back again saying, your value has to come from you. You have to know it and determine it for yourself.
Yep. No, that is extremely true. And that's, something that as things have progressed on, I'm coming to find out that, I'm only as good as I make myself to be. And, and I try to be better every day, I was, I don't know, you guys may have seen it. It was, I want to say it was some guy from the Navy, and he was given an inspirational speech at some graduation thing and basically said, start your day every day by making the bed. You accomplish that and you just move on from there, and you just keep making everything better as you go. And, I took that, and, I was like, that's not a bad thing to do. So yeah, every day for year or more, that's the first thing I do. I get up, make my bed, and then continue on about the rest of the day. And, I started with, successfully completing one objective and moving on to the next.
That's actually really, really good advice.
Yeah.
So, do we have any more questions? Do you have anything that you want to say?
I've pretty much verbally vomited as much as I can possibly think of right now.
Man, we still have like 13 minutes of time to fill too.
Hey, I think I basically chewed away more time than you did on your paper there that you wrote.
Well, yeah, the essay was only like 3 pages. It doesn't take long to get through. But no, yeah, I did say that I would give some periodic updates also for seasonal affective disorder. Today's a nice and cloudy day, but it is springtime. I'm noticing the sun staying up longer and getting up sooner, and it's not bothering me that much. And then CJ just came up with a couple of questions for you. 1,
yes.
How do you hold yourself accountable? And 2, what coping do you use?
Oh, my coping mechanism. Not many people. Well, there's a chunk of society that probably will not like what I do for my coping mechanism, and I throw myself into my hobbies, which include reloading and target shooting. It's a way to shut my brain down so I'm not thinking about stuff, not thinking about anything else. Just, if I can't do anything else, I can at least try to, hit paper. So, the reloading thing, the fact that you have to be within a fraction of an inch to make sure that everything's going to be precise. It's, it's one of the, it's a mind numbing thing. For me, it quiets everything down. Especially because both shooting and reloading, it's all math, and I enjoy numbers. Numbers don't lie, and it works well.
And how do you hold yourself accountable?
Holding myself accountable, I've stopped putting myself into situations that would, possibly put me in a bad spot. I've basically turned off social media for the majority of it. I don't go on there very often. The one social media account that I have is basically just friends and family, nobody else. And I've turned it off. Basically, nobody outside of my circle of friends and family can message me or anything like that. I basically have turned myself into an online hermit, but it's probably it's for the best. I just don't put myself in a position where I could possibly make a bad choice.
All right, just finishing up a quick message here. I just muted myself. All right, so here's what we got for feedback about your hobby. CJ, I know there are many people who don't use healthy coping, but shooting is a good release. Arlie, yes, the focus required from shooting is extremely mind-clearing. CJ, gives you a sense of control and gratification. Of course, I love to go out shooting. It's a lot of fun. Then Arlie, ammo's too dang expensive, though. And I said, probably why he does a lot of reloading.
That is exactly why I do reloading. The rounds that I shoot, if I was to buy them at full retail, it's about $1 a round, and with reloading, I cut that down. It saves me about 70 cents per round. It's about 30 cents per round when I do reloads.
Plus, it's another very precise, very repetitive, cathartic, relaxing, mind-numbing exercise.
Exactly. You got to have precise powder measurements. You got to make sure you have correct length on your casings. Everything. It's nice. Again, like I said, it's all math. It's all numbers. And it's something that I thoroughly enjoy.
And that's something that you could also enjoy doing even when the weather's bad.
Exactly.
Shooting, not so much, but reloading, absolutely.
Oh, and the best part about it, though, and this will tell you how much faith I have in my lady, even after all the the hell I've put her through and all that. She actually enjoys shooting too, and I don't mind taking her out. And I haven't bought a Kevlar jacket or anything yet.
That shows that you have trust in her. That's awesome.
Exactly.
So Klutzana was all saying that's so cool, and CJ, thank you so much for sharing and being very open and honest.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, he said earlier that he goes into his closet. It's not like a typical closet. This thing is a man cave with clothing.
There's clothing behind me and my reloading bench in front of me.
Yeah, this is not your little tiny closet, even not your typical walk-in. This is a good-sized closet.
It's pretty nice.
Oh, thank you, Klatsana. Said, I continue to be amazed by this podcast and the hosts and guests. Bravo, you two, for doing this.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, that means so much, hearing that.
It does.
So we still got about 8 minutes left if anybody else has anything. And there is a slight delay between what I say and what they hear, so. And then there's the typing.
Oh, yeah. I see you messaged me on Facebook there.
Yeah. It was getting close to airtime. I was like, yo, where you at?
Yeah, no, I snowcat trip today for work, and then got home and felt completely nasty, so I took a quick shower.
God, I would love to go out with you one day and just see what you do.
Oh, dude, it's a blast. Maybe we'll have to work something out.
All right. What fear have you overcome with anxiety? That's coming from CJ.
Probably failure. I don't fear it anymore. It's part of life. And it's one of those things where I've always been so afraid to do stuff, and just because I'm afraid I'm not gonna do it, not gonna be good at it, gonna fail at getting things done. Reloading, for example, that was one of those where I was like, oh God, am I gonna blow my freaking hand off the first time I take one of these rounds out and go shoot it? Yeah, failure is probably the biggest thing that I've overcome, with anxiety. Is, it's part of life. It's just, something that is going to happen, but a lot of times you have the ability to control whether or not you do fail at it.
True. For me, I actually have a fear of success, believe it or not. Every time I start to get successful, I kind of self-sabotage. It's been one of the reasons why I come up with these ideas and never really run with them. And this podcast itself is me facing it head on.
Yeah.
I want this to succeed.
No, exactly. I know. And I know you were cursing me last week when I didn't show up.
Not really. Oh. No, you could even, you listen to the last episode, boy. You'll hear. Why did I call you boy? Oh, well. Yeah, I'm feeling under the weather, so sorry about that.
No worries.
But
You're good.
B was fantastic. I actually even had a couple people say that they want B back. So,
oh, awesome.
Yeah. And also had some people talking about how, because of B, their dogs got extra long walks because they didn't want to stop. They were just listening. Oh, thank you, Arlie. She said, I'm so proud of you for that, E. For, going after my fear of success, which it's a real thing. When you live, I'm, a Gen X, the lost generation, the latchkey kids, the forgotten generation, basically. So yeah, and we watched our entire livelihood, our whole future just explode in front of us, and success became like a thing that was so pressed upon us so hard that it became terrifying.
Yeah.
And Klatsana, people need to learn that failure does not mean you're unworthy. It doesn't preclude success of the next try either.
Yeah. No, exactly.
All right, so I do have to get one little matter of business out here. Once again, Rachel Conway's been really helping us out a lot, getting information spread down in Southern California. So I gotta let her know that I really appreciate it. So yeah, Rachel Conway of Genuine Psychological Services in Mission Valley and Encinitas. I know I've said it a million times already, and it's the absolute truth. If I didn't have the geographical barrier and the personal relationship I've had with her for years, I would absolutely want her to be my therapist. So if you're in the Encinitas area or Mission Valley and you're looking for a therapist, check her out. Seriously, I highly recommend her. But yeah, help us out. We'll help you out.
All right. Well, you scratch our back, we scratch yours type thing?
Absolutely. I mean, there's people starting out somewhere all the time.
Yeah.
And, eventually, hopefully this platform will grow, and hopefully theirs grows as well. And we all get to sit back one day and be like, wow, can you imagine when we were starting out, how things were run then?
Right. Sitting in my closet.
Yep. Well, hey, you know what? Next week is actually the halfway point of our first season.
Oh, awesome.
It'll be episode 5 of 10.
Cool.
All right, so we have about 3 minutes left. If there's anybody that has any last comments, questions, anything, shout-outs, now's the time. I'm not sure if you guys can pick up my kids in the background fighting.
No.
We have some construction stuff going on in the house, so it's making it harder to isolate. We're redoing our bathroom. It's almost done.
Thanks for not volunteering me to, remodel your bathroom for you, by the way.
You could have done that?
Oh yeah, that's part of the benefit of having family that can do stuff like that. And that was part of the last week issue was remodels, windows, that sort of thing. I've redone my mother's bathroom.
Yeah, no, we did a whole bunch in ours. Let's see here. So, CJ, thank you both for being here. Personal experiences are the way to learn to grow with each other, or learn and grow with each other. Absolutely.
Yep. Without a doubt.
All right. I think we're just going to go ahead and wrap it up then. So thank you, KZ, for opening up and sharing. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for giving us... Sorry, Klatsana just popped into the chat and said, oops, now E knows. Yeah, now I know. I can volunteer you. Voluntold you. And Jennifer Ray says, be well, everyone. She said hi earlier, and she's just been quietly listening this time. Last time, she was the big pusher of all the questions. Was our only person in chat last week.
Oh.
But nice. Yeah. Again, thank you very much for opening up, sharing. Thank you, everybody that's in the chat, for sharing, asking questions, getting involved. It's actually you guys are why I'm wanted to do this and why I brought KZ in. Because again, I know KZ, like me, likes to help people. And this also is kind of helping me, and I'm pretty sure it's also helping him along the way.
Oh, yes, definitely.
And have a safe week.
Have a good week, guys. Thank you for listening.